wait until Italu assaults.
Would you say you watch your Nene?
Yeah, you could if you wanted to, and you wanted to be that lame, like that. You could make that reference. Sure, that's fine by me. I don't have a problem with it.
Wow, thanks for not having my back there. Picks and bans.
Why
please.
would I have your back with that? Are you kidding
3.
me?
Well, that was great. I mean, you set it up for me, and I had to walk through that door, and I happily did it.
You really
as you move into Game 3 here, Bedtime's calling in Goblin Gang, the first set of Season 6 of Smite here at PS4 EU. And these two teams so far have been relatively evenly matched, is what I would say. The first, and both very swinging games around this Vamana. I'd be surprised if Goblin Gang, as the second pick, let it through at all.
There's no way. Okay, King Arthur, that's a fine ban.
Makes sense.
I'm fine with that. I think Arthur is definitely worthy of a ban if you're not comfortable with some of his counter matchups in the solo lane. Not that there are a whole lot of them, but I do think there are some options available to you there. Ullr's a good throwaway ban in this situation as your first pick. Now you're forcing Goblin Gang to either give you Vamana or Bacchus or Gibalanque. I mean,
Freya,
you're getting Freya, though it doesn't seem like they wanted it. And yeah, Vamana is the correct ban here for Goblin Gang. I was gonna say we could actually pack up the rest of picks and bans and talk about something else entirely if Bedtime's calling had gotten the Vamana just based on the way
we could talk about how great my Nene joke was and how you didn't follow up.
Right. Yeah, we could have talked about that, but luckily they banned it, so close one. Hera left open though is a really good call. By the way, this is my first time that I actually took a look at Bedtime's calling logo.
It's sick.
That is much scarier than I initially thought it was gonna be. When I think of Bedtime's calling, it's like. I'm kind of sleepy, like, go to bed, you know? Not like this ghoul that is coming to claim my soul.
Yeah, it feels much more like they're saying, hey, bedtime is the time when this apparition comes out to eat your nightmares or something. Like, it's going to be it's not a good
It's like an eternal bedtime, you know?
It's
like
all over for you.
It's time for your eternal slumber. That is, that's the way it looks to me. But it's cool. It's just not what I was expecting. I don't know.
But I like that they have this Hera here first. As Bakasura comes in, he's another jungler that's been very strong. Hera, we didn't really get a chance to see competitively until right around now, so
that's right.
If you're not as familiar, Argus, who she drops down with her ult, is really a lot of where she plays through. Is that some of the extra damage and tanky presence she can get from almost like a pet on her ultimate, really.
Yeah, I mean, this is the first competitive showing of Hera because she was banned during the World Championship.
Right.
So this is our first time getting a chance to see her. I think she's very, very strong. I think that understanding the way that you should be sequencing your abilities can be a little bit unintuitive on her. You really want to be landing your 1, the Royal Assault, off of your knockup, not the 2, because otherwise it's really hard to land the 1.
Right.
But I think that Hera is a character that does a lot of really, really good stuff, and I think Poseidon on the other side for Goblin Gang is an interesting selection because one of Hera's weaknesses is that she has to walk up to the melee creeps to clear the wave properly in order to knock it back with the 1. And Poseidon's a god that can really punish you for walking up to your wave. So I want to see Cynortas play pretty aggressive in this lane early on, especially pre-5, where Hera feels like she's not a whole character quite yet.
Jing and Osiris going to round out that first picking phase for Bedtime's calling. Jing was very much a staple pick in Season 5, especially towards the end. She builds into crits super well. She's very safe in lane. She has the ultimate which can get her out of just about any kind of danger as well. So this makes sense. If you're looking for a stable pick where you just want to make sure that you're not going to get pressured as much, Jing is absolutely the way to go. But Goblin Gang wants to go back to this Anhur, which did very well for Just Lion, who I unfortunately missed the synergy on with the fact that he was on her and his name is Just Lion, unfortunately.
I saw it coming and I couldn't stop it.
There's nothing you could do.
Sorry about that, chat. I gotta say, by the way, this Guan Yu pick, it was pretty early on, but I think Guan Yu is really, really strong right now. And it's no surprise to me that the console side is a side that's really willing to go all in because the console scene has always been all in on Guan Yu. But you build Runeforged Hammer on Guan Yu, and his ultimate, if you didn't think it hit hard enough, will 100 to 0 a squishy. And he's getting some health in there, and Blackthorn Hammer is a great addition for him as well to give him all the mana that he needs and some CDR when he's above half mana, or above the mana threshold, rather. I think Guan Yu is a really strong pick right now, and overall, with this Khepri rounding out the pick here for Goblin Gang, I love their draft. I think it's really, really good.
No, I definitely agree with you. It's a draft that I think can work at all stages, right? Anhur is someone that can be very strong early. Bakasura, if he's able to get some invades, can be strong too, especially right when he gets to level 5. This is a draft I think is difficult, and then you have like Guan Yu and Khepri to sort of help bolster this team in the late game. For me, the question for Bedtime calling is, how well are they going to be able to play around this gap? Are they going to get enough out of this Daji, who we saw struggle early on? If those two can really show up for me, then I feel really good about this draft from them.
Plus, the Khepri pick up against the Daji is really strong for 2 reasons. Number 1, you can easily, drop a Scarab's Blessing on whoever gets pulled in,
right,
and then they're good to go if they get killed. But even if you drop it early, that's a CC cleanse that will break the chain, and now you don't get pulled in anymore. We think of Geb and Chiron as the big cleansers, but Khepri has a cleanse on Scarab's Blessing as well. I just think that this dodgy selection, who are you looking to pull? You can't really be aggressive against Bakasura because he wins that 1v1 pretty easily. Poseidon you can pull because he doesn't have CC immunity. That's got to be it, though, here in my mind for Bedtime's Calling, because you don't want to pull in the Guan Yu. Anhur is going to be able to have his ultimate up at every fight because it's incredibly low cooldown these days. I just don't love the dodgy selection. There's not a whole lot of follow-up for the Geb ult afterwards. There's not the Kraken or the Raw Snipe that you're really going to have for that big follow-up. I don't love Bedtime's Calling draft. I think Goblin Gang should take this one.
This is Game 3, the decider match between Bedtime's Calling and Goblin Gang. This will decide who wins this very first set. Let's get over to the casters for the action.
Thank you one last time, John and Ryan. Well, at least for this set. Only 3 games, and we're already there. You know, I got to be with the guys here. That is a scary ghoul. Can the team be as scary is the question. Tom and Taco on the call one more time. And, of course, Doug LeBlanc rocking the 1s and 2s. So, Sahota here on the Jing Weezy. And we'll see how that goes against the Khepri. Character we don't really see all that often.
The biggest switch up, if you ask me, in this duo lane. Because you expect the Guardians to not always run the same thing game after game. But Sahota has notoriously been on that Xbalanque. And he is awfully losing this exchange right now. Doesn't get... Oh, wasn't the impale damage, just that on her passive coming into play.
Yep.
Those extended power autos got the better end of this laning phase, but I can't say that we're all that surprised seeing a Jingwei Geb lose to the Anhur Khepri.
Yeah, Anhur's going to push back Arya one more time and then look for the subsequent invade. Nope. Back in the lane.
I think just Lion messed up there by using the impale onto the Geb instead of holding that to at least confirm the minis off of Bedtime's Calling purple buff.
The dual lane seems to be, is it more micro-intensive than it used to be?
I think at certain levels of play, yes. As right now, I don't think that just Lion, of course, he's not going to really be punished for using the impale there, but he kind of punishes himself.
Yeah, he doesn't get as much as he needed.
So there's like little moments. There is some micromanaging that can definitely be involved, but looks like mrsacx and just Lion didn't really have too many problems collecting that purple buff anyway. Sahota could have a whole different world of trouble here because this poke has just been relentless.
Well, one of the nice things, Sahota last game got jumped and impaled. That can't happen to Jingwei, right? Oh, but that's going to happen, baby! Just Lion doesn't need to knock him up, to knock him down.
I think that's got to be a record, right? On Caster's Curse, you didn't even get to finish the sentence, and it happens.
It's got to be up there for sure. Anhur making it happen. Oh man, just Lion. By the way, Hunter comparison, level 3 to 1.
Yikes.
That's a yikes, baby.
That is that's something for Sahota. I mean, it's a new dawn, season 6, baby, goes. New Caster's Curse.
Oh yeah, man.
The timers have shifted clearly on how long this is gonna come into play, but. Sahota, he is back in this lane, but not necessarily back in action.
Just Lion, on the other hand, feeling pretty good about that one. So the Anhur certainly making an impact. Our supports, you were talking about, you know, support players kind of having wider god pools, playing a lot of different stuff. But at the same time, I do want to bring attention to just how different. Ollie with a nice polymorph right there. Going from Bacchus versus Ares in game number 1, that's aggro as it comes. Pedal to the metal, baby. Jump in level 1. Now it's Geb versus Khepri, which is, please don't attack my carry. Very, very different mentalities
Please
here.
Stop being aggressive.
Yeah, please don't do that. Don't do that. Where Bacchus is like, who wants to get drunk? And just jumps in and ults. Khepri's going to sit back on the backline and go, get off of them. Geb's going to show up and go, shield, baby, shield. So you're going to look for a more defensive play here, I think, from the support players.
I think that's the general idea here, but mrsacx could probably afford to play a little bit more aggressive still in comparison to Arya on the Geb. Do need to be careful, though, on Khepri with that love bug hug, because if you get a little bit too close and personal, you can definitely find yourself out of position and possibly getting forced the Scarab's Blessing, which you don't want to waste.
That's very true, very true. Also, whenever I see a Khepri, I always think, I immediately think about oCxnnahh, because that's going to be able to cut the pull short a little bit. So what characters can make use of that? And really, I mean, you're looking at, you know, solo and jungle. So we'll see if that comes into play.
I just find it hard to believe that SARPEII will be able to work an oCxnnahh into the build right now.
Sometimes as a Daji, you go all in for the CDR in order to get that ultimate off as much as possible. That's not SARPEII's job here, though.
I should clarify, I think that there are definitely opportunities for a Daji to build an oCxnnahh, and were it not for the fact that SARPEII has kind of already handicapped himself with the Daji pick into a composition that has all CC immune ultimates except for maybe one.
Yeah.
I think that we might have seen him possibly look for that direction. And these solo laners, they're kind of just trying to flex on each other, but it feels a lot like the Osiris is getting the better end of this exchange.
Yeah, Osiris is going to have the anti-heal in the Lord of the Afterlife, as well as be able to kind of shut down some of the damage output that FataliTyxFire brings. And if he's crafty, can stop the Tallow Assault. That's a large task, and it's kind of hard because of the way the timings work, but it's possible.
He's got to take a little bit of poke to dish it out.
Yes.
That's the exchange factors coming into play here, but that's why I like seeing this Berserker Shield. Hold that thought, though. Argus is going to come out on top of Cynortas, and Whirlpool going to make quick work of that Argus, but Argus did take out about 60% of Cynortas' HP bar, so I think that was a lost power play moment for Bedtime's Calling. I think I would have liked to have seen them maybe look to play aggressive on that red buff instead, but the introduction of a 14 member, I think just persuaded them not to do so.
Interesting seeing Hera come through in the competitive world right now. A character that, so I think Hera's identity, well, it's Argus, right? First of all, if you're playing Hera, I want to see you pop that ult early and often. If you're holding that ult, I think you're kind of doing it wrong. And also, she's the anti-dive character. You can't jump on Hera, which is why I really like this choice. Goblin Gang was jumping on Ollie a lot in game number 1. Game number 2, they didn't really have to because he wasn't doing anything. You can't jump on Hera, though.
Well, you can, but you have to make sure you kill her.
Yes.
Otherwise, she is going to kill you and very likely your entire team shortly after that.
You jump on her, Argus comes down, you get knocked up, then you get polymorphed, then you're at 30% HP or dead already, and then, you know, water falls from there.
Plus, she's zooming when she toggles her movement speed on with her big movement shield.
Oh, New Boots goofing. Well, she shows up with 700,000 HP. Yeah, it's rough, boys. It's rough.
It's definitely a different world out there with Hera and Argus. And
so with that in mind, we've seen her banned, you know, 2 out of these 3 games. If you've been playing ranked at all, she's frequently banned. How do you, A, deal with the Hera, and what kind of composition do you want to fight into Hera with?
You need all in. That's what you need, and that is exactly what Goblin Gang have, in a sense, with Kinder Warrior on the Bakasura. Bakasura in this draft feels like the sacrificial lamb here for his team, because you pick Khepri knowing full well that Kinder Warrior is probably just sacrificing himself for the cause to try and target out Ollie on this Hera. And as long as Goblin Gang are timing their cooldowns appropriately, I would expect things to go a little bit more favorably for Goblin Gang in comparison to Bedtime's Calling, because they don't have self-sustain. They don't have a Scarab's Blessing. FataliTyxFire is going to be able to heal members throughout the team fight while all eyes are on Kinder, who, like I already mentioned, is undoubtedly going to be that frontlining, or not frontlining, but suicidal. He's just going in.
Goblin Gang going in right now. That's that. Gold Fury nice and easy, 8 minutes in, and Goblin Gang pick up a kill, and the Gold Fury to start our game off. It'll be a tie one because of the objective. What little start Bedtime's Calling has had, Goblin Gang able to answer back.
And we're in the 3rd match now of this best of 3, and it feels like Goblin Gang have become the Bedtime's Calling from game 1.
I feel that. I feel that. When what I think you mean by that is just the attention to objectives. Everything is about not the kill, but the secondary objective after the fact.
They got the game 1 jitters out of the way. I think that's what it came down to. I think in the first game, Goblin Gang were kind of just overthinking a lot of the situations they were placed in. They felt very scatterbrained and all over the place, and not really seeming to have a focus point throughout any of their engagements. And then game 2 rolls around, and they're just all over the place, stomping left, right, and center. Next thing you know, Just Lion's also popping off on the Anhur, which I still firmly believe Bedtime's Calling might have slipped up on letting this man get his passive back in their play.
I agree with that as he makes another play onto Sahota. The ultimate is good. Jing finds an exit. Carry is one of, if not, this just might be it for Just Lion. No ultimate to avoid any of the crowd control. SARPEII gonna go up, misses one, misses two, and Just Lion, just like that, gonna leave him on the dance floor, baby. What I was gonna say was, I think carry might be the most confidence-dependent position, wherein you gotta hit your stuff, and a lot of times when you're fighting as a hunter, and you can confirm or deny this, you gotta have a little bit of an ego, Taco. Taco,
you have to have an ego.
You have a little bit of an ego in lane.
I am very egotistical in lane. I'll do things just to mess with whoever I'm against. Sometimes you don't. I will say though, I never taunt or spam laugh. I just use abilities
you do it
and
IRL,
relics.
That's the problem.
Yes, I mean, there's that too. You're getting it in their head because, I mean, if they're watching, even better.
Oh, I've watched you stand up and scream at people. Maybe they can't hear you, but we all can. But I think that's the attitude you need to have. And frankly, in game number 1, Just Lion got smoked. But then game number 2, he got a little bit underneath himself, and it's kind of just been going his direction since then. Mid lane, though, could be a different story. Nice ultimate from Geb, but the counteract from Goblin Gang. Chop, chop, chop. Kinder Warrior confirms the second kill for Goblin Gang in 10 minutes.
See, this is what I do.
That. He forced an ultimate by hitting the back button? That's absurd. Come on, man.
Well, the Jing was going to ult either way, which Sahota probably didn't need to do in that situation because Just Lion had 0 mana.
Swag.
There was nothing left. He clearly already used that Desert Fury again, so not a chance of kill potential there, but the fright has been established. Sahota knows. And to be completely fair to Sahota, Jingwei Anhur, that's not a matchup for the Jingwei to win during the first 10 minutes of a laning phase. So Just Lion is doing everything correctly here. He needs to be aggressive on this Anhur because the early game is where you prosper on Anhur. And by the way, Goblin Gang taking yet another objective for free. We'll let Osiris beat the hell out of this Totem of Coup. We'll just take the Pyromancer in the process.
Ollie. Another free kill. Cynortas on the good side. Here's Bedtime Calling, running up the mid lane. Not going to find much. Just Lion making the relatively early rotation, actually.
And that's the problem, though, for Bedtime's Calling, is that Just Lion already served his purpose. He was there, I believe, for the Pyromancer to help his team confirm it. Goes back into the mid lane now, and there's nothing on the map. There is no punish to be had for Bedtime's Calling against Goblin Gang, which is just Goblin Gang getting away with murder, if you ask me.
I mean, that's exactly what they've been doing. It's 3 unanswered kills. Bedtime Calling still sitting on that goose egg. Not able to really make the change. You talk about Anhur needing to leverage this early game, and that's why, sure, we've seen the Runeforge build, and that's just kind of the build of the month right now, but even more so against a character that, 1, you know you have the advantage of in the early game, and 2, hit tab. You see this player is stacking. Jump on Jing. That is the name of the lane right now.
But now that Sahota has the boots finished, Just Lion should be a little bit more mindful of how aggressive he wants to play this lane, because there is some turn and burn potential now for the Jingwei with the 25+ stacks. Not really the same could be said here, though, for OIIy, but great disengage coming out from Arya Cruz. That's the type of peel that you want to see from your Geb when Baka is trying to commit to Hera.
And also, that's what Hera is going to be able to do for herself as well. Geb does a great job. Hera combines for it, and SARPEII on the back picks up the kill off of the defensive assist, frankly. Goblin Gang initiated that, and Bedtime Calling are able to get on the board because SARPEII shows up. Polymorph will hit, but the one won't.
Ooh.
Beads, not a great look for Sahota, and now Goblin Gang gonna look for more. SARPEII jumped on, ultimate gonna hit her, Pal out, danced upon. And now the fight around the Gold Fury. Kinder Warrior goes down to the wayside, 2 players dead, and now it's 2 kills for Bedtime's Calling.
But here's the problem. Goblin Gang, sure, they've had their solo laner rotate, but so is that Osiris, and SARPEII will end up disengaging, falling back to his teammate OIIy here for the moment. FataliTyxFire and oCxnnahh, they basically just brought the fight from the solo lane to the Gold Fury, and everybody else is kind of just like, yeah, we don't really want to watch you two slapbox each other, so we're just going to go farm.
Yeah, oh man, it's funny. They're just like, they're fighting in the, it's like a Scooby-Doo montage. They're fighting in the solo lane. Now they're fighting in the mid lane. They're fighting by a Gold Fury, but it's still just the same nonsense.
Yeah, nobody cares. It's just, we get it, guys. You're warriors. Neither of you's going to die, and you just kind of...
Osiris wants that top damage.
Fit check. That's what it feels like.
Just, yo, check me out. Check me out.
Still looking good? Oh, yeah. We're still doing the same amount of damage to each other. Yeah, we get it.
Just swagging on him. That's how this game has been going so far. Players just kind of pulling out all the stops.
But Bedtime's Calling, that was by far the best. I don't know if I would necessarily call it a team fight. It kind of just felt like awkward walking around the map from Goblin Gang of being unsure as to where they should actually be at. So we'll fight, but then not fight, and then kind of just re-engage. It just felt very indecisive from
looked
Goblin
like
Gang.
a pub crawl.
But Bedtime Calling took advantage of that because Goblin Gang, they weren't resetting or disengaging, so Bedtime's Calling are kind of just like, okay, well, we killed this guy, so I guess we're just going to go for this guy next, and they profit off of it. They get 2 picks, and those are 2 pretty big picks because it evened up the gold lead from about 1,500 now to 400 and some change.
SARPEII also gets beads chased out. Goblin Gang maintains vision control of the Gold Fury as well. Very important right now. 15.5 in, tie game all told. Gold Fury started by GG. Bedtime's Calling here or something. Gold Fury not done yet. Goblin Gang do confirm, but the Kraken's on cooldown now. Get pulled in. Where's help? Khepri ultimate goes off, and that's going to be a big deal. All ultimates for Goblin Gang already used. Meanwhile, Duo Lane has theirs available, and SARPEII going to take down mrsacx. Sahota still has an ultimate if they want to jump forward. And Osiris chasing, walking. Slows are good against Fatality. Nice zone by the pop-up, and that's going to put him down. Sahota with the first kill of the game. Now, Bedtime's Calling, kill count usurping that of Goblin Gang. Y'all might have gotten the Gold Fury. They took the fight after him, but Taco, does it do anything for them?
They get 2 kills, which isn't ideal. 1 kill, you're not really sweating it, but 2 kills, you're kind of just like, all right, maybe you could have been a little bit cleaner on that reset, but Goblin Gang still got what they were after at the end of the day. They got the Gold Fury. They also managed to keep their carries alive, which I was not expecting. It looked as though Cynortas was about to get choke pointed when he was initially escaping towards his team's red buff side, but I just don't think that SARPEII really realized when he was trying to collapse onto mrsacx, the Khepri, just center of attention. I mean, bigger hitbox means, you know, you're just not going to really get away out of those times. Had to force the Scare's Blessing onto himself. That was just smart looks out of the Osiris to ensure the anti-heal was procced against FataliTyxFire and whoever else was caught in that Lord of the Afterlife.
Baka no boots. So to put this one out there, boots are 18% attack, or 18% movement speed, as OIIy gets krakened and crunched on. And Kinder will pick up the secondary kill. A nice combination there. Kind of what you expect, so maybe a little routine. But Baka here, 18% movement speed is what you get from boots. And each one of these swords gives 10, right? Golden Blade, Katana, and even the green sword give 10% movement speed.
It's risk versus reward with this build pathway from Kinder Warrior, and right now he's just full on reward. He did not get punished for his build style choice.
Who's critting?
That'll be Sahota on the Jing Wei, but she's going to have to airstrike on out of there because Kinder Warrior has showed up yet again to the party with that blink in from the Bakasura. Going to take care of those back harpies as well, right in front of SARPEII. Legit, just what are you going to do? It's a Baka. He's got Golden Blade. He's got his Eat Minion just in case. There's just no way you're going to catch up to this boy either because he's zooming.
Oh, he's zooming.
So it just feels like a great engagement from Goblin Gang. They kind of just took advantage of a double kill pick point, and those narrow alleyways in the jungle are what OIIy really have to be careful of, because just as heavily as they can benefit Hera and Argus, they can also work against her when there's a Poseidon and a Baka.
Yeah, the Poseidon and the Baka, the cripple won't really affect her too much, obviously, but just the amount of damage that's going to be stuck in one little spot there. You know what's interesting? The Baka against the Hera, how do you like that as a jungler, specifically going up against Hera? Is Baka your pick? What's your pick against Hera?
It's hard to say. I mean, the pick for Hera isn't necessarily falling onto the duties of the jungler alone. I think that this is where you truly see competitive play in a better light in comparison to your standard ranked and casual games, because you're not picking for a one-on-one matchup. You are picking for a team composition when you go for the Baka. You are essentially signaling to the enemy team, this is our all-in commitment.
Oh, yeah.
And if we don't have this commitment from the Baka, then we're probably not going to find very many kills.
I thought that was going to be an aggressive jump. Not this time. Goblin Gang grouping up here in the middle lane. 4 players strong. Their solo laner still making the rotation. Here comes Arya, dragged into the whirlpool, and the Kraken, and the ultimate from Anhur. But in the back line, there comes a jump in from the enemy help. SARPEII looking for the chains. They'll grab it, but he's got a Magi cloak. That's all good. No! Just Light gets pulled in anyway.
I think they forgot for a second there what was going on, because Daji looked like she wanted to disengage. Arya Cruz under pressure yet again, but a beautiful Cataclysm going to stop Kinder Warrior and FataliTyxFire dead in their tracks. Sahota now looking to give chase to this Bakasura. Meanwhile, Argus tanking up that T1 tower, but not for long. Osiris now still trying to make quick work of this T1. And with all 5 members of Bedtime's Calling still in the mid lane and no Just Lion to help answer back, Goblin Gang are just forced to disengage.
I like the call from Geb to stick around. Also, my mistake, Magi's Cloak not on Just Lion, so absolutely able to be pulled in by the Daji.
He had the Scarab's Blessing for a little bit there. It was a Scarab's Blessing, and he used both of his actives, so that was an excellent siege opportunity there from SARPEII to go up into that Powwow.
Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Goblin Gang are not able to steal it. Bedtime's Calling do maintain control of the Gold Fury. Now the back off, but it looks problems for Arya. Kinder on the run. Baka can't keep up now. There he goes. That should be a dead Geb, and it won't be. Nice. Nice. Some help there. Kinder finally confirming the kill, but does need some help from the friends.
FataliTyxFire now, still chasing onto Sahota. Body blocks aren't good just yet, but the Kraken will be. Cynortas ensuring that Sahota does not live to see another day, at least not for the next 50 seconds or so. Now it's OIIy on the run, super low on mana, doesn't really have much left to offer here.
This is a good play. This is a good play. SARPEII from the right-hand side, jumps on top of the mage. Gonna jump all the way to the back line. There's a little bit of help from the solo. SARPEII up on the Powwow, can't reach the Poseidon. Will pull 2 members in too early. You've got time. SARPEII's able to take care of mrsacx.
Oh
now
no.
To take care of Fatality. OIIy in trouble. Can the Hera get away? Looks like so with the shield.
That movement speed as well. And that is SARPEII's cue to get on out as well. So he'll go ahead and teleport right on over to OIIy, but Kinder Warrior making a big play here. No, Just Lion's here also. Everybody just backed.
All right, well, Just Lion showed up. For a second, I thought Kinder Warrior was looking for it by himself. Not going to be the call. The call is with the team and Goblin Gang. Early Fire Giant. That's a big brain call.
They didn't want to risk it waiting that extra 4 seconds for mrsacx, and I can't blame them because it's 3 carries, tanking that Fire Giant. You never know what can happen, or if this Osiris is just going to miraculously have showed up in time before Bedtime's Calling. Fortunately for Goblin Gang, that's not going to be the case, but the call is what I really want to take note of. You just had this massive, super long engagement on the opposite side of the map, so for one member from Goblin Gang to go on over, because Just Lion had been one of the first members to die. Same for Kindred Warrior, and then they respawn and immediately dive straight for that Fire Giant. I don't think the call could have come at a better time here for Goblin Gang, because now they are going to have the certainty that they needed to finish sieging these last 2 remaining T2 towers on the map.
Certainty. Certainty. It's a good word you used there. Goblin Gang, they have the certainty because they had the certainty, frankly. That was a That was an interesting call, but they were 100% positive they were going to be able to respond to each other and take care of business on the right side of the map. And Goblin Gang do just that. Now we have a lead for Goblin Gang. 6,000 or so. 5,000. And the left side will be the target for the blue team, for the red team, excuse me. And don't forget, Baka on the right side might just get it all. Oh no, oh no.
Arya Cruz, just lying though, it was all a bait in the end. He's still gonna get hit by that airstrike. Egg is gonna save him for moments longer, but the beads are gonna be forced out, and just like that, smothered and covered by the Osiris. That's gonna bring down Just Lion. One member dead already with the Fire Giant, but you have to remember, there's a Baka on the map. Sahota's gonna be able to get back in time, but just in time, in fact.
Comes the chase down, and Baka's going to lose the life, and serves you right. Serves you right. The tier 2 tower, absolutely the right play. The ultimate on the tower, probably not. Especially, don't forget, Bakasura minions' backdoor protections are still there, right?
They are still in play. That wasn't an enhanced Fire Giant, and that is an important difference to distinguish, because with the enhanced Fire Giant, players do get to ignore 50% of those backdoor protections, so that play might have worked out a little bit better there for Kinder Warrior had it been slightly later into this match when they got that FG.
Yeah, just a couple of minutes. They got it about 2:22, I believe, so yeah, if they were able to get that just a hair later, we likely see the right side Phoenix go down. So a little bit of aggressive play there from Kinder Warrior. Not my favorite. But here comes the all-out collapse. Two players sieged on, and Cynortas, where'd you go, buddy? Just taken care of.
That's all we needed Argus for.
Yep.
And for as beautiful as that Fire Giant call had been to start with, the only benefit that Goblin Gang really got at the end of the day is a single T2 tower. I think it was just the way that Goblin Gang grouped up. They only had 3 members in position for that left side T2 siege. And I loved what Bedtime's Calling did, where they split their forces in half, essentially, and just cut off the exit way for Goblin Gang, leaving them no choice but to take the head-on brawl. And Just Lion, of course, is going to be the first member looked at, because Anhur's just the easiest to kill in that situation.
All the options cut off there. Oni Fury going to be stopped, and that's a good thing. Oni Fury would have not tied the game, but the existence of that stronger wave of minions would have forced Goblin Gang to respond. So this is actually an important pickup for Bedtime's Calling if they can pick it up. But that seems to be a big if. Kinder has ultimate and is wandering around this right side unwarded.
And look, I understand. Sahota got cyberbullied for a good 15 minutes of this game.
Sure.
But now he's the one dishing out the disrespect here against Goblin Gang, because he's got the crit online, he's got the Executioner and the lifesteal. Goblin Gang will claim the Gold Fury. A little bit odd here from Bedtime's Calling, but I just don't think they've really felt comfortable in the jungle. Jungle fights also can be a little bit risky here, especially when Ollie's getting committed on in the backline from Fatality.
This could be a big deal. The Whirlpool Kraken. Not going to be good enough, but here comes the Baka nonsense. Where's the ult vote? There it is. Sahota uses the ultimate, and that should just push Goblin Gang off of the left side. Phoenix, SARPEII going to do it the forceful way, taking FataliTyxFire with him. Sahota gets the last hit, 3, 2, and 5. BTC's carry. Blink forward. Oh, SARPEII not going to go.
No, he shouldn't go. He was way too far out in front from everybody else. I think that if he commits any further there, Just Lion and Cynortas could combine forces to bring him down pretty quickly.
I'd believe that.
I think the big thing, though, FataliTyxFire doesn't really seem to understand how little health they really have on this Guan Yu in terms of frontlining against Sahota with this Executioner Titan's Bane Rage. The crit matters here because FataliTyxFire just has pure prots, pretty much. He's got 1 stack in this Hide of the Urchin, so he's mostly relying on the raw stats it initially provides. And the Fire Giant is just unanswered. No one is home from Goblin Gang to try and stop that one from happening.
Cynortas barely getting out of here, and Baka on the right side gonna do what he can. Just Lion jumping away. Pyromancer in the way of Bedtime's Calling. So enhanced Fire Giant will be around BTC.
my brain is just going in every direction right now watching Goblin Gang, because I feel like we were just commending this team for how strong their objective play was, and then out of nowhere, it just feels like it's every man for himself, and they're all just scattered in different directions and just all over the place. There's no cohesion between Goblin Gang's forces right now, and it's so apparent that Bedtime's Calling are profiting off of this because they're just able to turn and burn. That's all it's been. These past few fights that have gone so horribly wrong for Goblin Gang, it's just because it's 2 and 3 versus 4 or 5 every single time.
You are right, man. Every time. Every time. Goblin Gang, for a moment, looked like Bedtime's Calling from game number 1 because their attention to the objectives, their pursuit of the stuff after the stuff, and their ability to group up and play a proper team fight. The problem is, now Goblin Gang are looking like Goblin Gang from game number 1, where they were the opposite of everything I just said. They're not able to group up and play as a unit. They're not making these objectives calls. Bedtime's Calling is down 4,000 gold and got the Fire Giant themselves. Difference is, this is the Enhanced Fire Giant, so they're going to have an even nicer time here.
Yeah, Enhanced Fire Giant is not really fun to deal with, especially, I already brought in the big deal with the backdoor protections. 50% of those factored out. Enhanced Fire Daddy is giving you the damage that you need against these structures, because he doesn't want those structures standing for much longer. Sahota knows his job. He's right there on the T2 tower. There is an Emperor's, though, in effect here for Goblin Gang. I think that was a pretty smart pickup. Front line is not really there for Goblin Gang, and I think that's what's hurting them so much in these past few engagements, is that it's a Khepri and a Guan Yu who initiates.
Yeah, I like the Guan Yu initiation, but it's got to come from a flank almost. Instead, it's going to be Pow Lao doing what they can do on the right side, and here comes a jump from Jing to get on out of trouble. Now the surge forward from Goblin Gang, and there's the Guan Yu dash slowing down what Osiris can do. Trouble is Sahota gets dashed on, and Fatality takes out one. Kinder Warrior takes out the other. FataliTyxFire gets stunned, then polyed, but Kinder Warrior ain't giving it up. Still on the chase, and there's the kill.
I'm so confused. And I'm not going to even lie about it, Tom, because I am just baffled right now. It's like, they have to hear us. They have to hear the things that we are saying, because there is no other explanation. Argus trying to bail Ollie out, and Ollie just needs to not even worry about this red buff being his home right now. Yep. Argus already saved his life. He just needs to do everything in his power to try and back before somebody realizes that he's still running around in the jungle. And that somebody might have been Kinder Warrior if he had looked up, but went for the purple buff instead. Can't blame him. Hard to keep track of where that Hera might have ran off to, so Ollie will make it back in time for this base defense. But I wish we would have seen a little bit of a frontline attempt from Goblin Gang. I think it was a slight missed opportunity there because they chased too deeply into the jungle for that Hera, so they didn't have enough time off of those picks while everybody was dead from Bedtime's Calling to look for the mid lane Phoenix. I think next time Goblin Gang need to go back to being structure focused, because these two teams are kind of just taking turns throwing the team fight engagements.
It's going to be, you know, I think we might see a situation where exactly what happened last game happens. Back and forth, and then one team fight just kind of ends it all. We'll see if that's the case here. 32.5 on the clock. Goblin Gang with a lead. They are absolutely in the lead. I'm not mincing my words here. 7,000 gold in the lead. But Bedtime's Calling seem to have the momentum.
They seem to have the momentum, but we said the same exact thing about Goblin Gang 15 minutes ago.
Well, and you know, I should check myself. They have a gold lead, but everybody even as far as the items are concerned, so perhaps a little bit less relevant.
One interesting aspect, though, that I do want to bring up is that this does highlight the strengths and weaknesses of both of these compositions right now, because for Bedtime's Calling, if they're all actually able to stay grouped up and allow these Geb shields to fly all over the place and peel for their carries, then Bedtime's Calling can typically have the advantage, but they have to time it right. They have to wait for that Baka all-in die potential first. Arya can't afford to use that Cataclysm at any other moment. He has to be the one to prevent the Bakasura from all-inning on Ollie, and because of all that attention that has been given given to keeping this Hera alive, that's allowed for Goblin Gang to have opportunities to capitalize on the front line, but they're not taking them. They don't want the tanks, and I think that that is something that a lot of teams still miss out on, because you can kill the tanks in Season 6. Splice did it, and they won Worlds. So I'm just honestly amazed that more teams haven't really seemed to take note of that.
Well, thanks for breaking that down during the pause. We're back at it. We're going to see some action one more time. Fire Giant Dance happening right about now. Goblin Gang picking up the Pyromancer. Nobody cares. Fire Giant is really what we're looking for right now. Bedtime's calling, trying to stop it.
And this will be the third Fire Giant of the game. Just want to clarify for you guys back at home, because Fire Giant graphic not necessarily showing up just yet on the screen, but there's already been a regular FG, one enhanced Fire Giant, and now a secondary one to boot. But this FG is also, his stats are getting heavier as well.
FataliTyxFire poly knocked up, brought down to half HP. The Osiris getting taken care of. Guan Yu looking for the initiation. Can't find it. Kinder on the back line, however, certainly looking for OIIy, but the shield is too much. Whirlpool Kraken, good enough to take care of OIIy. Mid lane taken care of their direct opponent. Fatality trying to run away. SARPEII saying, you may. Because of a little bit of help from mrsacx. Team fight raging on down south. Just Lion take caring Sahota. And now, FataliTyxFire very low. And the business done by Cynortas. 4-1 and 7. 3 players dead for Bedtime's calling. SARPEII falls. And that makes 4. One more player left. And here comes the cavalry. Goblin Gang. Another deicide. That's it, baby. Game over.
And they knew it. Bedtime's calling, the F6 raining through. As soon as that 5th member ended up falling there, deicide to seal the deal of that game. And it was a hard-fought match 3 there. But Goblin Gang, they found their advantages. They finally had that single moment that they needed to all in on top of OIIy. We just broke it down during the pause, and then we watched it come into play immediately after.
A little surprising, if you ask me. I think the way that this match started off, all of the wind was in the sails of Bedtime's coming, but Goblin Gang is the one that's actually on the way. 3 games down, Goblin Gang take this match. Let's break it down with Finch and Ryan.
I'd be happy to, Tom. A back-and-forth game from a back-and-forth set. That is going to be our very first one here for Season 6. And Goblin Gang eventually were able to bring it all together and come out just a little bit out in front of Bedtime's calling. A really close game that seemed like to me to come down to which jungler was just hotter that game.
I completely agree with you. I mean, SARPEII does incredible things game 1 on the Vamana. Kinder Warrior answers back in kind with the same Vamana pick, but in this game, SARPEII did okay, 4-1, was making some plays, but the Bakasura definitely felt like a much bigger impact. 6-2, that last team fight, Kinder Warrior doing plenty of damage there. And when you've got this sort of build with the Golden Blade and the Atalanta's bow, you're just chewing through everybody, you're doing some pretty good work. Low damage numbers for Kinder Warrior, but there wasn't a lot of poke damage. This was all team fight damage for Kinder Warrior, and it ended up paying off for him.
It absolutely did, and it set up a lot of the times for Cynortas to be able to clean up, either with his ultimate or with that whirlpool, keeping him trapped in. This was a true team effort for him, and it was really despite OIIy, who's getting shredded here in this game, having a really good game on the side of Bedtime's calling. I thought that his play on the Hera was much, much improved, and really was causing a lot of frustration for Goblin Gang throughout that mid-game. They just couldn't hold on. Completely
agree with you. OIIy looked like a completely different player from how he did in Game 2. It's just that Bakasura can really cause a lot of problems for Hera pretty easily. You really have to be very patient as the Hera player. You wait for Regurgitate, you wait for the CC immunity to run out, and then you polymorph. And that's really the only way you ever live, and that's when you still need Divine Shroud, and you probably still need Argus with you as well to deal with the damage. That's a lot of different boxes you have to be able to check in order to win a 1v1. That's before you factor in a support or a warrior or a mage hitting you at the same time. It just ended up being a little bit too difficult for OIIy to survive the onslaught that Kinder Warrior was throwing at him.
It was impressive, though. A close set for our very first set from PS4 EU. And remember, PS4 is that's our youngest division, our youngest branch. So so them still kind of coming into form is something to be expected. I think there's still a little bit more from the 5v5s, like the totals, team fights that we could be seeing from that total team cohesion. But I mean, I think we're seeing just about everything else be there for these teams. They just need a little bit more, and then be right there with everyone else.
I completely agree with you. I think that we saw some really good objective calls. I mean, the one call where a team lost the fight, and then they had their carries respawn, and they just went straight to fire. They end up getting the fire giant. That's really, really strong map awareness. That's really understanding how to play the game as a team. It just, I mean, you only get so many 5-on-5 late game team fights.
Right.
Even when you're scrimming all the time, you need to get those reps in, and that's the only real substitute for any sort of practice. I mean, you just have to get it in there. Nothing else can compare. I think as the season goes on, these teams are just going to get better and better at a really, really quick rate because they have so much room to grow. I think we'll see rapid improvement in these regions.
I think so too, and it's not mechanically. It's like you said, I think it's working as a team and making those decisions. But that is going to do it for PS4 EU. We're going to stick with Europe, but we're going to move over to the Xbox side here with our very next set. So give us a quick break. We can get everything situated and ready to go. We'll be right back here for more console Smite action.